right, HBCU Legends fans, it's Kyle T. Mosley here with a special installment. Man, you hear this guy's voice every week on HBCU Go. He's the lead color analyst for the network. He and James Hatnot, those guys do a tremendous job, as well as Lorenzo Moulton, cannot leave her out. They do a great job handling the broadcast from week to week for the network. And we have to be able to bring him in because there's a great game that's about to kick off in Las Vegas this weekend. It's called Las Vegas HBCU Classic, between two storied programs. I think you know these guys, Jackson State, as well as Grambling. So you got the Blue Bloods of the HBCU kicking off in Vegas with this inaugural classic game. Is none other than Mr. John Kelley. What's going on, John?
Wow, Kyle. First off, I appreciate the intro, man. You're raising me up and gassing me up for this. Secondly, I want to give you your flowers for the work you're doing within HBCUs, not only the sports, but then the culture of it. It's so important. I tell people all the time, this is probably one of, if not the most important job I've had, just based on this reach, the need, and also the impact. So bravo to you, man. I've been watching what you do on your side. So happy to be a part of it and pumped to be on with you, man. You're right.
Thank you.
This game, the Sin City Showdown.
I like that, the Sin City Showdown.
That's what it is, baby, because we got the Blue Bloods of HBCUs. We got Grambling State. We got Jackson State. You got the history of Eddie Robinson. You got Prime, Coach Prime, and then you go over to Jackson State from Sweetness. I should say, Coach Prime with Jackson State. So it's got it all. Walter Payton, the history is here. And then to bring these two legendary schools to a city and a platform and a stage like Las Vegas, man, this was made in football heaven, entertainment heaven. The battle of the bands here, this is going to rock this city. And the people that get a chance of this slice up close and personal, you'll probably even feel it on television. I think it will change what they think about not only college football, but Black college culture with these bands, man. It's going to be on, man. I wish you were here.
Yeah. Don't talk about that. We're going over that later. Yeah, I do wish I was there. But I think my family say, hey, Dad, you don't need to be there because, you may gamble away. No, I'm just kidding. But
degeneracy. You unleash the degeneracy.
Yeah. But no. Las Vegas, great place as far as entertainment is concerned. We had Sandra Douglas Morgan on with us a few weeks ago. She spoke about how this all came to be, the infancy of the game. Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders as well as the Aces, really bought into this immediately. And we forget that the Raiders had such a really hand in helping out HBCU players during their day with drafting Eldridge Dickey at number one, the first time a quarterback from HBCU was drafted in any pro league at number one. And then you have guys like Art Shell, who took over the Raiders program as the head coach from UMES. Now you have this classic game. What's the vibe there? And why do you think this game is so important in laying the foundation that can be able to just spawn off a great generation of games ahead?
Well, I hope this thing is running for the next 50 years, but you nailed it. The Davis family has been integral into integrating not only Black players, but coaches. You mentioned Art Shell. I mean, you think about what happened, before players were being recruited from HBCUs. We see Doug Williams behind you right there in that Super Bowl cover, the first Black quarterback to win a Super Bowl coming out of Grambling State. So what the Davises were able to do to help break down barriers, because, again, everybody knew the brothers can ball, but it was, do we want to let them play in our game? So I can't give enough credit to what that family has done. And then to have Al Davis's son, Mark Davis, now step up and support this. This is a launching pad. What we can do with this Las Vegas Classic, and I hope this becomes one of the biggest classics, because we have some of them down south. But to have one come out here where Black college football doesn't exist, a lot of people maybe heard of it but aren't aware of it. To have this showcase launching, jumping off with these two blue blood schools, and then do it on a stage like this at Allegiant Stadium, which is a spectacular venue. Yeah. And then to have the band. So it's key. So the Raider tie-in is so big, and that's the kind of support. And you see Mark Davis at the Vegas Aces games. He cares about women's sports. That has been vital, and that's what we need. That's the kind of landing pad and acceptance, and also breaking down barriers we need across our world, let alone just the sports. Culturally, the HBCU Go mantra is we want to immerse you in Black college sports, but also Black college culture. And that's through storytelling. And sports is such the great center of gravity, right? Brings us all together. Doesn't matter what city you're from, what state you're from, what culture you're from. People get together on a game day and we're all one, either your side versus my side. But that's then our entry point, the Trojan horse. And college sports will let us do that. But to have a venue like this, it couldn't be any bigger, better, because people like to travel, and who doesn't like to come to Vegas? So the game,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, what a great setup. And then you've got all the other great things. So I really would love to have this where we start doing this not only every year, but start then doing it with basketball and do it with some other sports, because the NFL and NBA getting on board with us at HBCUs and HBCU Go is vital, because it's the money, it's the spotlight, the branding they can bring, and then all the alumni as well.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, many of you being a New Orleans native, as well as my dad being a Southern graduate, I was there at the Bayou Classics. I was at the very first Bayou Classic with this guy made me cry at 8 years old because he was throwing the ball up and down the field, and Southern Jaguars couldn't stop him.
He was eating them up. Doug Williams ate up most teams that he faced.
Yes, he did. I told Doug that, and I said, I can't forgive you for one thing, and that's it, Doug. But other than that, you guys have been in HBCU Go across America, from the New York Classic, and you were there, you and James were there calling that game. Yeah. And now you guys are going over to the West Coast, from the East Coast to the West Coast, breaking down this HBCU connection that's really necessary for the whole vibe and for the whole culture. And I think you said it very well, why this is such an important game.
Yeah, and again, last weekend we were down in Baton Rouge for Southern University's homecoming. So yeah, we are really spreading this out. We've done games, we do them down in Houston. So the fact that we have these premier games, our first couple of years, this is year 4 for HBCU Go. Our first couple of years, we were getting kind of the second tier or hand-me-downs because ESPN had a lot of things on lock, and we were the new cats in town, and they weren't trying to give us the premier games. So some games we had on our schedule instantly went away because they had right of first refusal. That was the first couple of years. Now in year 4, we're getting first choice, and these schools want to play because they on our network, because they know the kind of quality we bring. So now this year we've got classics, we've got homecomings, and we've got the big stage now. And I think you know this as well as anybody. The key to big time sports success, you've got to have rivalries, you got to have superstars, and you need games of consequence. Right. This season, we have all of that, and we can help change the game with that, because then not only do the schools want to be on board, but people know more about us. The word gets out. People in this city of Las Vegas, these billboards have been up for months promoting this. We're starting to spread the magic and really share that gospel of what this is about. And once people get a taste of it, then you never forget it. But we're introducing a whole new culture. The alumni, like yourself, Morehouse guy, been on board from beginning. We know the alumni that have gone to these schools, from Martin Luther King, the great Dr. Martin Luther King, to Kamala Harris, and then entertainment, Oprah, Spike Lee, Sam Jackson. The list goes on and on. Lionel Richie from music. Charlie Neal, who used to, as a bus driver, drove the Commodores, and Lionel Richie back in the 70s before they became the legendary Commodores. So, and he played tennis. Lionel Richie played tennis at Tuskegee. Which is classic. But those are the stories. Storytelling is our key. That's our magic. That's our hot sauce. From the beginning of time, humans communicate through stories. And that platform of HBCU Go allows us to do it with sports to start, but then it's about the culture, the campus, the great legends that have come out of this school and not only change communities, but change the world. Yeah.
You said a couple of great things in that statement. One was the gospel. And if you guys know what the gospel is, that's spreading the good news. And HBCU Go has been a part of that recently, especially when I first met and spoke with Byron Allen 4 years ago, talking about the SWAC deal, and now they've gotten with us, the MEAC and CIAA and SIAC. But one of the keys also was Charlie Neal. And I know my friend is, we were still praying for Charlie, but you learned a lot from him. Talk about that impact of just being in the booth and preparing for a game with Charlie Neal.
Well, Charlie Neal is not only a Black college sports icon, but he is just a broadcast icon.
Legend.
The voice, a legend, absolutely. I mean, he's been doing games and work from everybody from, Bill Russell to the biggest names, and Doug Williams to, covering the Olympics, the Pan Am Games, every major sport, NBA. He is such a gift and a gem, not only as a talent, but as an individual. We send him prayers every day. He's had some good days, some bad days. He's had some health issues this season, so he hasn't been on board with us. I was saddled up with Charlie for the first 3 years, and I can tell you, I'd never done color commentary. I met Charlie probably the first time doing it. I'd never met Charlie until about 12 hours before our first game together. So we barely knew each other, but I watched his research. I mean, he brings Bibles in, the study, the background that he does. And he was so just giving and such a great lift. And he was so easy to work with. So, he treated me like a younger brother and brought me along. So I can't give him enough credit for any success that I'm having, just because here's a guy who's done it forever, sitting next to a dude who's never done it. But I was able to pull off his magic. We just had a natural rapport. It was amazing that we sat for the first game and it felt like we've been working together for 20 years.
Yeah.
I give Charlie a lot of that credit because he's such a professional, so well prepared, and just a great storyteller. So to watch what he did, and it made me raise my game. I went in prepared because that's just how I was raised. I played sports all my life, so I always want to be prepared. I always watched what he was doing and seeing in the little nuances. So Charlie Neal has been such a vital part of HBCU going. That's why Curtis Simons made him the first hire, because he brought the gravitas, the history, the relationships. You walk on campus with him, I tell you what, I'm like, the cat behind James Brown carrying his cape. Charlie walks on, bends down, throw that cape on. Let's go, brother. Dr. Feelgood in the house, paid the cost to be the boss.
Yeah.
Charlie Neal is just an epic individual and just a great dude. I'm telling you, I've been harping on him. Write your book. The stories he tells me in between games, man,
incredible.
It's just legendary.
Yeah.
Not all of them he can share, but the ones he can are entertaining enough. It's amazing, from a guy who used to be a DJ, bus driver, to the heights he's gotten to. I can't say enough good things about Charlie Neal. He's been a huge part of our success.
Yeah. We would not have HBCU football if it were not for Charlie Neal.
Yeah, all the guys now that are head coaches and administrators were the players back when Charlie started. So they all know him when they were playing or in high school wanting to play, so they could have Charlie Neal on BET say their name. So he walks around, I'm telling you, man, the reception we get, and that is just, the elevation and the shine that I've been able to get, because I'm like, yo, I'm with Charlie. That's my guy. So it makes a difference. And I really feel honored, humbled, and, excited that I've had the opportunity 3 strong years to do multiple games with him, because he is a true professional, one of the kindest, sharpest dudes I've ever worked with.
Yeah. Look, it was so funny when he did a game last season with Neil Simone in Houston with the Texas Southern Tigers playing in one of the
football or basketball.
Basketball. Okay. This was a basketball game. Okay. And Charlie had an entourage just pray during the halftime. They were like, Charlie. I was like, hold on, man. Charlie was just loving it and taking it all in, and you had to appreciate that because it's well deserved.
Yeah, he's a special individual. So again, as you well know, going back to the 80s on BET, he was the guy who set the tone. And he's the guy who's still carrying that torch. So we wish him well. I hope he can come back and do a couple of games next year. But first and foremost, his health.
Let's get him
well. I'm
well.
glad he's getting the attention. His wife's a superstar who went to an HBCU, Jody. So she's taking care of him, and we send him our love every week.
Definitely. All right, let's talk about the big game. You got Jackson State ranked. I think they're up to at least number 14 and number 11 in another FCS poll.
Yep.
And I think that's the highest Jackson State has been ranked in the FCS poll for many years now. But it's well deserved. TC Taylor and the Tigers are doing a tremendous job. Looks like they are on the road back to the Celebration Bowl. Last season, of course, they won the championship, the HBCU Football Division I championship. Talk about your time with those guys and what are they telling? What's the message TC Taylor is getting to his team in preparation for this game?
Well, first, allow me to start. TC Taylor to take the torch from Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and how he just blew up the game in so many positive ways and brought so much attention, funding, spotlight, changed the game not only at Jackson State University, not only the city of Jackson, not only the SWAC conference, but all of black college football. No matter what someone might say about him, oh, he sold out, went somewhere. No. You don't understand. The money he brought in, the support, and the way he changed that, he boosted everything. TC Taylor, that's a tough act to follow.
Right.
But Deion handpicked and said, this is my guy, and he's been his biggest supporter. TC Taylor, who was a superstar athlete, one of the greatest players ever at Jackson State, has now come in, completely different culture than Deion. He has his own style. How quickly he got his fingerprints on this. TC Taylor and his mission had become, now I'm going to twist this with my style, and he has not missed a beat. So what he does is he knows his guys are good. He knows his guys are damn good. They're the defending national champions, but he doesn't want them to get all gassed up. He's like, what have we done lately? And his expectation and what he wants, he demands execution. Be nasty, be tough, be hardcore, but he loves on these dudes too. So again, he pours his heart out. And as a former player, these guys will leave it on the field for TC Taylor. So he is the linchpin, the center of gravity, because TC is the first one to tell you, players win games, culture wins championships. And so that's what he's done. But he knows this team's good. We had him on a call this week. He's like, look, man, if we do what we're capable of and play the way we're supposed to, he didn't say this, these are my words paraphrasing, but he knows ain't nobody going to stop these guys. They're stacked on both sides of the ball when they execute, when they have their quarterback playing his top game. I mean, these guys are supposed to win it, but the key is you got to continue being hungry. Last year, they won the championship. They hosted that trophy. They were feeling good about themselves. But I can tell you, the one sore spot, it was a score, 41-20. Grambling State upset them last year on their way to the title.
Yes.
That's become, a billboard product for them to say, don't get too full of yourselves. Last year we were on a roll and we got snuck and punched out. Now, again, they gave that game away last year, 5 turnovers, outrushed them, outpassed them, but still lost the game. So they've had this on their marker. This is something, and coaches love doing this, giving his guys some extra fire because on paper they're supposed to steamroll Jackson State. But the fact that they got snuck and sucker punched last year, that's going to be great. But they are hitting on all cylinders. I can talk about their team and what they do, but TC Taylor has a well-oiled machine. They're supposed to come in here. They're treating this like a business trip. This is going to Vegas. It's all cool. They love the pomp and circumstance, and they will deliver. But it's about preparation. And he knows what they did last year was great, but they got to be great again. And that means it will be great again, and they have to take every game like it's their championship.
Yeah. Jacobian Morgan and his crew, that offense is rolling. Then you have Quincy Ivory on the defensive side leading the crew there. I just think you look at the talent across the board at Jackson State, it's tough to say that these guys cannot repeat again this season.
I agree with you. Jacobian Morgan, what I love is he came into this year supremely confident. Last year he had Irv Mulligan, handing the ball off, and then take it all the weight, put it on his shoulders. And Jacobian Morgan had a great season. Now it's on him. He knows he is the guy, and he relishes that. He started out a little bit, I think, at the beginning of the year, maybe trying to do too much. But once he kind of slowed down, and TC, when we were at our last game covering them, he talked to us and said we really had to work about his footwork. We had to take him and reboot because he was scrambling, doing stuff, and he wasn't setting. So they said we worked with him, and we made it a point to have him step up in the pocket, got his footwork, and I can tell you, we watched it in real time. He was a new player that next week. So he's very coachable. He's very talented, but he's in his zone right now. So he's playing, hitting on all cylinders. And you know how it is, man. Kyle, when you see these cats, when they're in that zone, they feel like black Superman, and there's nothing stopping them. That's what Jacoby Morgan looked like the last couple of weeks. They had a great game against Andrew Body. Alabama State. And Andrew Body is a beast. Thank God he's healthy because he is unbelievable.
Yes.
That game was an all-time classic. Wish we had that on HBCU Go. We'll get that one next time. But what Jacoby Morgan did in that closing minute, the poise to come down to score with under a minute left and then watch their defense hold.
That throw.
He threaded the needle, and it was unbelievable for that touchdown under pressure.
Yeah.
Then the defense fed off that. That's what I love about this team. They've got the right coach. They've got the right culture. They've got a defense and an offense, man. This thing is built for championships, but you still got to execute, and they're doing that. Now, that's no disrespect. Grambling State, they've had moments this year, and I actually played football with Mickey Joseph. So Mickey J was at Nebraska his freshman year when Neil and I were seniors. And Mickey J came in. He's a head coach now, and I'm so proud of him. He came in as a freshman. And he acted like he was going to be starting quarterback. And I loved his energy from day one because he's a leader naturally. He coached at Nebraska as well. He coached at LSU, had that lineup of receivers that were all Galaxy. And now he's the head man. He was an assistant at Grambling, ended up going back. But Mickey J, he's the right coach for this team. He's still trying to get some of the horses in there. This is only his second year and trying to get the brothers that can get it done. But I love his attitude because he cares deeply about the players. He's also a systems guy. Mickey Joseph was under Coach Tom Osborne, and Mickey says, that's who I learned my systems from. And that was some of the stuff that was lacking at Grambling State, all respect to Hugh Jackson, but they just were kind of all over and the assistant coaches doing their own things. Mickey came in and said, this is what we do. This is what's expected. You're either with us or against us. And he's now in year 2 starting to get that concrete to harden so that foundation is playing. But I love what Mickey J's about, and he's about the kids. He says, man, if I can support them and they need to go to a bigger school and they're being recruited, he said, I'm the first one promoting them. I want them to win in life. These games are a way to that, but I want these cats to win. And Mickey J is all about that. Love that guy. Yeah.
Another New Orleans guy.
There you go.
Mickey Joseph, as well as, guys don't know this, Mickey Joseph was all world in Louisiana as a quarterback. And they used to play that, hey, Mickey, you're so fine. That was about him. They used to play that every time for his highlight reels, man. So Mickey Joseph was the man.
And I think, and he's also the man at home. I think Mickey J now has 6 kids. I think his oldest is 30, and then he has like a 5-year-old now. So he's got the whole range. But the fact that he's a big-time coach at a big-time school, taking care of these young men, running a family with all these guys, young people in his world. Mickey J is just built for this. And, all of his brothers are in coaching. So I love what he's doing. Hopefully Grambling State can hold on to him for a while, because if he starts having the success that I think he will, he'll be one of those guys. TC Taylor too, man. People are calling him all the time. Let's see if these schools can hang on to these superstars, because it's like the portal. That money, we see what these coaches are making now. It's tough to say no if someone comes knocking and say, what you think about $5, $6, $7 million a year, son? It's hard to say no.
Yeah, hard to say no, but I think the one thing Jackson State has going for them is he's a Jacksonian, and he's a lifeblood and alumni of Jackson State. Could A.D. Robinson be able to keep him? I'm pretty sure the alumni will find a way to try to keep him in the fold.
They should. And, you saw the residue of what Deion Sanders did there, because he rebooted the facilities, the uniforms, which these young people care about now. The look, the swag.
You got to look good, play good, feel good.
Feel good. That's what Deion always said, to look good is to feel good and to play good. But with that now, they can recruit. They can recruit with the big schools. I mean, they got Travis Hunter to decommit and come down and played a couple years there.
The biggest flip ever, right?
And so now, with those facilities, they can compete with these Power 4/5s and really make people want to be a part of their program. So that's been contagious, and hopefully that continues to bleed over. We've got coaches now that come in here and aspire to do what Jackson State's doing and demand that. But it takes support. It takes money. It takes facilities and funding, because kids now, man, they look at all that stuff. If your field looks a little shabby, or you're not getting the same cool uniforms, or the locker rooms maybe look like they're dated, it's tough to compete, because it's become a huge billion-dollar industry. But I love where we're at with black college football from all conferences, SWAC, MEAC, CIAA, SIAC. they are now starting to hit a stride in these television contracts in deals with HBCU going. I cheer when ESPN does it. People are like, oh, you're competing with them. Nah, man, it's all additive. It's all additive. It's not a zero-sum game. We all can win. Now, do I want our broadcast to smoke theirs? Absolutely. Our product, our teams are really putting together stuff, but I want everybody in the game. The more we can get the product out there, the more we can get the word out. As you pointed out, the gospel, let people not only see these athletes, these administrators, these great coaches, and these bands that rock the world. That will change the money and the advertising, and then also recruiting and students wanting to be a part of the magic.
Yeah. That's the one thing right there, being a part of the magic. We've been having some turnover right now in HBCU football with some coaches on the hot seat, and one was released. I know you guys covered Coach Graves before at Southern University. Just outsiders' viewpoint of what happened. Just briefly, what do you think that AD Banks needs to do to be able to get somebody in there to kind of right the ship?
Well, it's a great question, and it's tough because you think about it. Last year, Southern was one of the big ballers.
SWAC championship game.
That's what I'm saying. And then this year, the struggle. But, when you have so many players dispersed, and it's tough to be a coach in these big high-level schools that are, just not quite the Power 5 and 4 schools, because once your tier and talent gets up there, people are trying to snatch, right? They're coming in. So what can they do? Go out and find somebody. I hope they look first for someone that has some background and pedigree within that school, or at least in the conference, a la TC Taylor. Find someone that believes in the school, that this isn't just a job. Hugh Jackson, I think that made a splash at Grambling State, and no disrespect to Hugh Jackson, but it's a different mentality when you're coming from the blueprint in the DNA. And again, I think TC Taylor is the perfect example. Grew up in the system, played, was a superstar, so he lives and breathes it. He knows the culture. So I think what they need to do, though, is be very selective. Don't just go for big names. We see a lot of schools now trying to grab, a la Michael Vick, which is great. I love that because You've got guys with great knowledge, which can elevate the schools. But then you want to at least make sure you have people around them that have the DNA. So there's no easy answer. I'm telling you, head coaching these days, it's thankless.
It is.
No guarantee. And we watched it, though. You can see that, Terrence Graves, we had him last weekend. The difference of what we saw of the competition in the game for what Prairie View was trying to do and what Southern was trying to do. I watched him. There was this tentativeness on their side and almost fear where Prairie View, every time they got the ball, it was the end of the first half. There was a little over 2 minutes left. Southern had the ball, and they were trying to kind of bleed the clock. And I'm thinking, you got time to score here. Right. And James even said, he goes, looks like they're kind of running that clock out. And I said, well, that's just playing not to lose, or you're playing safe. They had to punt away, and there's only about 1:05 left. Prairie View took it downfield like they were on fire. And was so, again, the approach. So I think he felt some of it. Maybe he knew something going in because they were very tentative. But you have to find someone who's a trailblazer, great recruiter, hopefully has some DNA from the SWAC and or possibly the school. But go find someone who is a take-charge person who has systems in place and believes in culture. TC Taylor is the perfect blueprint. Hard to repeat, but that's a good jumping-off point.
You got two guys that are in the MEAC that were former assistant coaches at Southern University under Dawson Odoms and a couple other guys, I think Stomp Mitchell, and I think his name is Trey Oliver, and the other guy's name is Chinnis Berry. Just keep your eyes out for that. Okay.
Yeah, look, I cheer everybody on. And again, the passion that these coaches have, even if their records don't look good, seeing the enthusiasm, we've watched the different coaches that come in, their electricity, their love, their care. It's a different vibe. I went to the University of Nebraska, big D1 school, always in the competition and always competing for that top 5 spot and possibly a national championship. And no disrespect to Nebraska, but it's just a different vibe, very business-like. You find within the HBCUs, and again, you went to one, there's just a different type of feel, a different type of connection. And again, I wish I would have known more about these schools when I was in school, because I would have visited. I just wasn't that aware of it, but this was back in the mid-'80s. The spotlight wasn't there. So living in Lincoln, Nebraska, I never saw them on TV, rarely read about them. And that's what I feel so proud of what HBCU Go can do. And that's why it's one of the most important jobs I've had, is to put the spotlight, elevate, celebrate, illuminate what's going on with these schools, not only just in sports, campus as well.
Okay. All right. Last question, John, for you. This game coming up, you and James are on the call with Laurencia. And what can the fans expect to see with the product that's going to be clashing on the field?
You know, you're going to find two well-prepared schools, Jackson State and Grambling State, two head coaches, T.C. Taylor and Mickey Joseph, that care, were great players, but also understand connecting. It's a different world out there now with some of these young people. And these brothers know how to lead and empower and almost be psychologists. So you're going to get a great product. I'm telling you, Jackson State, when they're hitting on all cylinders, it's like a runaway Brinks truck. You know, people just dive in to get out of the way. They have the ability to do that. You nailed it on the head. Everything is leaning and trending towards this team repeating, and there's no reason they shouldn't, barring injuries. With that said, Grambling State, they still have a taste from last year. They were like, we were huge underdogs, and we came in and got the job done. Did Jackson State help them? Absolutely, but you have to capitalize on mistakes. So you're going to get high-quality football. You're going to get D1 classic football, and you're going to get something new in this vibe. They're hyped. They know this stage. They know the spotlight. They know the world will be watching, because this is one of the biggest stages every one of these kids has played on. So that's going to be cool. Then you got halftime. You understand it. Until you get to experience, it's hard to understand. I know on television we give a little slice, but what fans in that arena are going to experience, it's an electricity. It's a connectedness that's hard to put into words, but you feel it. You know, some of the music, you know, when we were at Southern, the singing that's tied in with it, man, you feel like you're at church. They are taking us to church. And we're in the booth, we're up there jamming, and some of those booths, the broadcast booths are kind of small. I'm like, man, can you move this furniture? Just let us get up and feel it. Let us touch the spirit. That's what people are going to get. And to have it at Allegiant Stadium, I hope they blow this thing up like there's no tomorrow, that people will then come and double the attendance next year. It looks like it's going to be a great crowd. It's a big, beautiful venue. And again, credit to the Raiders for being a part of it. Credit to everybody to bringing this on board. But if we can get this thing right, man, this thing can live for the next 20, 30, 40 years.
Beautiful. We're going to end on that note. From an old drum major who understands what it takes to be able to.
I didn't know that, man. You were a drum major, huh? So you were out there bringing it.
Yeah, had to bring you. We were part of the Tenacious Four at McDonald 35, and Neil Smith was a graduate of that same class of 1984. But I'd say this much. We learned a lot from the Sonic Boom of the South, as well as the famed marching band from Grambling. And guys, you're going to have a great overall experience. Watch it on HBCU Go. What's the kickoff time again there, John?
So it's, I believe, 3 o'clock local here, which is Pacific time, and it will be 6 o'clock Eastern. You can get us on the app. You can stream us. You can get us also on Roku. You can get us on Apple TV. We're now on Amazon Prime. So
that's
look
huge.
for us. We're also in, that was big. That's new this year. We're also in syndication. So in some markets, like in LA, I think we're on CBS. In Chicago, we're on Fox. So check the local listings. But if you don't find it there, check Amazon Prime. Type in the schools and find us there. The apps, but the different smart TVs. So again, you can get us on your phone too. Hope you join the party, but I'm telling you, man, what you'll see from football, what you'll see from those bands, these athletes on the field are killer. The band members like yourself, they train like Olympic athletes. They're out there. I see them stretching right before halftime. I'm like,
you have to,
ready
man.
to go take on the world. You have to, right? Because they know the spotlight, but just what they pour out. So you can get us on a lot of places. Look for us. I appreciate you, Kyle, for being someone who's spearheaded this. What you've done for years is help elevate all of this, and bravo to you, brother.
Thank you, John. John, keep doing what you're doing as well. I love your calls in the booth. And I think you were right when it comes in Tremaine Jackson. I got to ask this one last question. I apologize if I'm keeping you too long.
I got time. No, because you were my last one. So, man, I'll give you as much as you need, bro.
Tremaine Jackson, and you made a great point. And I heard you on the call. You were talking about how I think toward the end, well, after the game was all wrapped up and Nicole Hutchinson had her interview with him on the field, You and James made some very astute comments about Tremaine Jackson, the coach. First year, and yesterday he had a interview with Donnell Ware from Box to Row. Tremaine Jackson pretty much stated that he came from outside of black college football as a head coach when he was with Valdosta State. So it's not surprising that his name has been mentioned for new positions that have opened up, like UAB and things to that nature. But he said the key that it's not that we don't want to identify ourselves as being black college, but we are college football. And people from the FCS needs to start recognizing we are college football as well.
There it is.
What's your thoughts?
There it is. Well, first off, I love what Tremaine Jackson said right after the game. First year at Prairie View, he took it personally that he was on the schedule for homecoming for Southern. So you probably saw the first thing he said,
yes.
Man, I hope they had fun on homecoming. I think he said, Happy homecoming.
Happy homecoming.
It'll be a cold day in hell before you schedule us again on homecoming. But that's where his attitude is, because he has an expectation. He wants people to be accountable, and his players are following that. So he's coming in. His goal, he said it point blank, we're trying to do and be recognized what they're doing at Jackson State. So again, his attitude is right. Former player, he still looks like he wants to, suit up. But I know that we talked about a little bit, these coaches that are not only great, but bring that passion, but then bring winning football. Winning isn't everything, but when you're a head coach, it's most everything. And so for him to come in his first year, make statement victories like that. And they've had a couple of close games, but they're still leading that SWAC West.
Yes.
They had a couple of one-point victories. People are like, oh, it's ugly. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Getting that hot W up there, that's all that counts. So I love what he's doing. In the short time that I've even had to interact with him, I am a huge fan. I was happy for him, and I loved what he said. Y'all might want to think twice about scheduling us on homecoming. He took that as disrespect, used that as fuel, put it in his tank, and, man, look what they did. They came in and dominated and got a coach knocked out. Man, that's what, and I hope they keep him for a long time. But that's always the challenge, right?
Well, look, you just like when Coach Prime came, we love the fresh thought process, the fresh philosophy, the honesty, the transparency, right? Media, we eat that up, right? It gives us better storytelling to be able to put out there for the readers and for the fans. But the thing about Coach Jackson, you have to appreciate his focus has been like it is from day one and hasn't wavered. And if these guys are continuing on the track, to just see the possibility of that collision course with Jackson State could be one of those things we keep seeing year after year after year. And just like with the old days of Eddie Robinson, Archie Cooley, John Merritt, W.C. Gordon, Cassim, and all those guys, right? You have to have something and some notable figures pushing the narrative forward. And I think with Tremaine Jackson, we have that. So that's
and I love that. And I'm glad you pointed that out, giving him his love, giving him his flowers. He was a successful coach, big time in D2, won a national championship,
almost national championship. Right?
Yeah, so he knows what he's doing, and that's contagious. You know how it is, man. In sports, bad habits are contagious. Good habits are contagious. Losing is contagious. Winning is contagious. And all starts up here and in here. And that man, Tremaine Jackson, he has that in spades over and over. So I hope so. You got me gassed up talking about that rivalry, because we said that top of the show. Rivalries, superstars, and games of consequence. That will help sell the sport. That will bring eyes. That will bring money and sponsorship. And it will bring great players into this. And you want a leader like Tremaine Jackson and T.C. Taylor. So those gentlemen are setting the bar very, very high.
Yeah, T.C. Taylor, Tremaine Jackson, Chennis Berry, Trey Oliver, Deshaun Jackson in his first year. He's doing such a tremendous job. We have great coaches in HBCU football. Guys need to respect that. And as John Kelley said, it's the gospel of HBCU football.
Taking you to church.
All right. I'm Kyle T. Mosley. John, tell everybody how they can possibly find you out there on the World Wide Web.
It's funny. I get asked that all the time. I got 5 young children. I'm just not a real social animal. So
Yeah.
I post once in a while. I do a game show and people see, some of our clips. Game show called Funny You Should Ask. One of the funnest, most fun I've ever had doing a job. Byron Allen created this show. We have comics on. We tape 6 in a day. I'm busy doing a lot of different things on all these platforms. I'm on social, but it's not something I do a ton of. Everybody's telling me I need to do more of it. But I'm a grown ass man busy with 5 kids. If I was doing that too much, my wife would knock me out.
I got you, man. Well, look, follow John on HBCU Go this weekend.
There we go.
And be there to be able to watch the kickoff as well as the entire game, Jackson State versus Grambling State at the Las Vegas HBCU Classic.
Going to be a party,
John,
baby.
It's going to be a great one. John, it's been a pleasure, man. Let's not make this the last time we chatted up, okay?
Yeah, man. Let's hook it up. I'd love to come on anytime you want me on, but come over our side too. We need to find a spot for you on HBCU Go to start.
I've been trying to ask Curtis that. Curtis said, Mosley, Byron ain't gonna have you on there.
No, he's busting your chops. Yeah, we welcome voices like yours. So
okay,
would love to have you come on and do stuff. And if you're ever at the games that we're doing, come up to the booth, man. Spend part of a quarter with us. Share your magic, your wealth of knowledge with us.
I would love that.
Game with us.
I would love that. You guys do a great job, and James does a great job calling those games. So
what's wild? We talked about young people on campus. James had not. This was probably now almost 4 years ago. Charlie and I were doing a game at Grambling. James came to the game, hunted for us, found Charlie and I, introduced himself, stayed in touch with Charlie. Charlie was helping Curtis Simons really, find, younger talent, do some things. James Hadnot came in, got on our radar, and carved himself into working with us, and now he's got the number 1 gig. So I give big credit to James.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so James found us. We're lucky for it, but he's cut out of that same cloth as Charlie. James Hadnot as a young rising star, not even 30 yet, went to Syracuse University, the same place where Bob Costas went, same place Mike Tirico, the list goes on and on. So he has that pedigree, and he knows and understands homework. He puts in the work. He cares. So he's going to be one of those guys you'll hear from for a long time down the road. And he's at a great place now where he can become one of the voices of HBCU sports.
Yeah. And the 2 young ladies on the side, 3 young ladies on the sideline,
yes.
Nicole Hutchinson, Nia Simone, as well as Laurencia. I love all 3 of those.
Laurencia Moten.
They do a great job.
You are so right, Kyle. I'm telling you, these young ladies played sports. Nicole played tennis. Laurencia and Nia both played basketball at HBCU. So they all played HBCUs. They've been great additions. I love their energy, their perspectives. They put in the work too. They're athletes by DNA. We're taught that. We run like that. We can't help being prepared. They bring such great light, and the fans have really been attracted to them. So we've been very fortunate to have great people on our radar that has really elevated our entire product. So again, I'm the old dog in the mix now. So I love seeing these younger people carrying the torch, and really they're the future of what we do. And they've been great to work with on every level. Great work, great hard work, great talent.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know, Laurencia, this is to you. Rest well for your father. And I know you guys just laid him to rest, the all-time leading scorer of Syracuse basketball, Mr. Lawrence Moten, with his classic high socks.
Yeah, man, that's his back in the 80s, small shorts and high socks.
And poetry in Moten, as they would say. Yeah. All right.
I love it. Yeah, that was a tough one. She's back with us this week. She took a couple weeks off to be with her family. It was shattering because he was only 53 years old.
Yeah, so young.
And it was just so unexpected. So I can't imagine everything she went through. We stayed in touch a little, and she was shattered. But hopefully this week, getting back with our team and having a chance to kind of let some air in, bring her magic to what we do on our air. But you're right, man. A lot of people came pouring out to support her dad. And
that was a great celebration. That was a great celebration of life, man. I saw the clips from that, man. That was just
beautiful.
Awesome. Yeah,
beautiful. I do like that. Celebrate life. The tears come with it, but it should be a celebration of joy for someone that lived a life well lived.
Definitely. My father passed at 52. Her father passed at 53. I reached out to her, and I'm going to continue to reach out and keep her in prayer as well. All right, John, thank you so much, man. I'm looking forward to Saturday. I'm going to be covering the Prairie View game. That's their homecoming, but we'll have enough time after that game is over to be able to watch what's going to happen in Las Vegas. All right, guys, go to HBCU Legends. You can check us out at hbculegends.net on all of our articles that is placed on the Sports Illustrated site. And you can also check me out at HBC Legends on all social media platforms. And if you want to follow me personally, you can follow me at KTMOZE on social media as well. I'm Coyote Mosley. That's the great John Kelley. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, brother.
Everything that you do, man. Keep on grinding, okay?
You too, man. Let's keep doing it. Continued success. I look forward to hooking up again, my man.
Definitely. You too. Take care.